look at the turnout in those places compared to
Seems like the youth is trying to globalize the enchiladas.
the last mayor's race, up 14%. So you see two things here. Mamdani squeezed more out of the younger neighborhoods than Cuomo got out of the older neighborhoods. But then there was sort of a bonus there for Mamdani because the turnout in those neighborhoods was higher than it was in the older neighborhoods. That's a different story than we usually tell when we look at elections. And it's a big ingredient what Mamdani pulled off. You're not just beating Cuomo, but beating him by double digits. And you raised that question of would Cuomo go on to the general election and take a shot third party in the fall? Does the magnitude of his loss in this primary, not just losing it by 12, you have to wonder, does that affect the decision making for him as well?
Steve, that's so interesting. It tells us so much about where the energy is and certainly really gives us something to track as we head toward the general election. You are
1 week ago, we shocked the establishment and redrew the political
New video
map,
time.
with a campaign relentlessly focused on the needs of working people. Since then, a lot of people have asked me if I was surprised by the results. In some ways, I was. We always thought our victory would come after multiple rounds of ranked choice voting. So when we got more first-round votes than Eric Adams got in 7 rounds in the last election, it was astonishing. But in other ways, this was always the plan. We wanted to rebuild a coalition that had
The only taquilla he's doing is hiding how much he wants to help the American people, because the American people, when they hear someone who wants to help them, get scared and they go, oh, that might be socialism. That's the taquilla, okay, that every leftist should be doing, not the Islamic style taquilla. What is this? Is it one of the most haram things for a Sunni to do? Wait, what? It is one of the most haram things for Sunni Muslims, while it is considered okay for Shias. It is one of the main dividing factors between the two sects. It is common word in Iran because Shia Islam allows it. Or hiding that you are Shia is the most common usage. Can we please stop? Please, I don't care. That's not what any of this is about in the Western world, okay? It is yet another one of these things that Reddit atheists and like rabid Islamophobes took and started using to make it seem. I told you what the American version of it is, okay? I told you what the American version of this is. And there is a fucking reason why so many people, even Muslims themselves, have not actually heard of this, okay? Have heard of this terminology. A lot of New York City registered Dems voted for Trump in 2024, including Latino and East South Asian heavy neighborhoods in Queens, where Mamdani ran up huge margins. It is very likely that several thousand people that voted for Trump voted for Mamdani. Leave New York City announces to the locals. Hassan's Takia alibi is by having Kaya Dog in the house to confuse the r/atheism. Yes. Yes, Iraqi wizard already explained it. Basically, there's a passage from Hadith said that some friends of the Prophet that allied with Imam Ali, original Shias, let's say, hid their allegiance to Imam Ali when they visited the capital when Abu Bakr was appointed the highest religious leader of Muslims against the wishes of the Prophet. They feared that they would be prosecuted. Current imams in Iraq and Iran have recognized this fact and issued a fatwa. So it's a Shia thing. Oh my God. Now I understand why black people tell you to stay out of their business. Okay, but I don't tell people to stay out of Muslim people's business either. Okay? It doesn't fucking matter. But because we have a very neurodivergent community, they're just like singularly focused on this now. And everyone wants to, not only is it a taste of neurodivergence, it's also a taste of wanting to be the most knowledgeable in the chat. Okay? When these two forces are combined, it creates this fucking volcano, this faucet of information in the chat where everybody's like, no, you don't understand. I'm super knowledgeable on this and I'm super autistic. So I can't stop myself from basically writing Wikipedia articles in the chat. That's it. That's all it is. It's not like ill-intentioned either. It's like It's just people trying to vomit out as much information as possible to inform others. So it's fine.
Afraid over years of disappointment and neglect to win people back to a Democratic Party that puts working people first. So let's break it down. Last November, New York City saw some of the biggest shifts towards Donald Trump of anywhere in the country. Much of it took place in working class and immigrant neighborhoods. A few days after the election, we went to Hillside Avenue in Queens and Fordham Road in the Bronx, not to lecture, but to listen. And what we heard was a desire to bring down the cost of living. That was our focus, and many of those voters came back. Brighton Beach went for Trump by 44 points. Last week, we won it by 16. College Point was a plus 11 Trump neighborhood. We took it by 8 points. We saw similar or even bigger swings at Bath Beach, Astoria Heights, and the North Shore of Staten Island. The headline is clear. We can win back voters many have written off if we give them something to vote for, not just tell them what to be against. When Eric Adams eked out a win by 7,000 votes 4 years ago, he called it a mandate and pronounced himself the new face of the Democratic Party. Even then, it was a little ridiculous. But in some neighborhoods, he did put up impressive margins. Take Flatbush, for example. Eric Adams dominated there, double digits ahead of his next rival. On Tuesday, there was also a double-digit victory, except it was for us, over Andrew Cuomo. We flipped Crown Heights by 45 points, North Corona by 33, and Jamaica by a staggering 57 points. These are the outer borough voters that Eric Adams said he'd bring with him to City Hall.
Open presents,
He
thank you
served
for
as
the
donor
100
instead.
gifted subs.
Whether we're talking about young voters, older voters, or just plain disaffected New Yorkers, no campaign in recent history has been as successful at driving new voter registrations, especially in the 100 days before the election. Just take a look at this graph. According to the Times, in the 14 days before the registration deadline, about 37,000 people registered to vote. That's over 10 times the number of new registrations over the same period of time in the 2021 mayoral primary.
The
As a
Oilers
result,
back.
we won big with zero prime voters, New Yorkers who had not voted in any recent mayoral primary. For instance, in Gravesend, at least 32% of all voters were first-time primary voters. Most campaigns focus on triple primes, New Yorkers who voted in the last 3 primaries. But this strategy ignores most of our city. Yet we knew that we could turn them out if they saw themselves in our policies. We ran a campaign that tried to talk to every New Yorker. Whether I could speak their language,
आपकी वजह से हमने $8 मिलियन रेज किया है, 6 लाख से ज्यादा दरवाजे खटखटाए हैं,
or just tried.
que se comprometa al bienestar.
All the words are new! And the coalition that came out on Tuesday reflected the mosaic of these 5 boroughs. We won
I don't
South
rock a
Asian
Casio, I
neighborhoods
got an
by
Apple
huge
Watch.
margins in places like City.
Bubblegum Bunny Girl. What the fuck? We got a new Oiler in the chat. There ain't no way Bubblegum Bunny Girl is also from Qatar, right? The glorious oil-rich nation of Qatar. There's no way. The emerald of the Gulf. My beauty, Qatar.
Line, Ozone Park, Jamaica Hills. We won Latino neighborhoods like Corona, Washington Heights, Pelham Bay, and Woodhaven. We won many of the same Chinese voters that turned out for Trump in Flushing.
Okay, I'm fucking bored. I'm sorry. I've heard it a lot. All right. No disrespect. Let's get to
overseas around.
Let's get to some Iran updates, and then we're going to talk about the Trump situation. Shout out to Zoran's media team. They do a great job with these videos. Yes. I know. I'm being disrespectful to Zoran. There's a lot more news to talk about, especially Israel. Israel's agreed to conditions for a 60-day Gaza ceasefire, Trump says. Okay? That's huge. That's huge news. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the details. But before we do that, Iran.
Iran's foreign minister is talking with CBS News, his first interview with American television since the 12-day air war with Israel began. He spoke to Imtiaz Tayyip about his country's nuclear ambitions and the aftermath of the U.S. attack on Iranian nuclear sites.
We met Abbas Araghchi in what's known as the Hall of Mirrors, inside Iran's foreign ministry.
If Iran can enrich uranium within a few months' time, will it enrich uranium?
We're currently in the process of assessments post the Israeli and American aggression. But this enrichment is a matter of national pride and glory. I solemnly hope that the world over will also come to the understanding and accept that the Iranian people have the right to benefit from the bounties of a peaceful nuclear program, and that they will not easily back down.
President Trump has made it clear that he will bomb your country's nuclear facilities again if Iran does indeed start enriching uranium again. Are you prepared for that?
Is this a lawful act?
You tell me.
We showed and proved during this 12-day imposed war that we have the ability to defend ourselves, and we will continue to do so should any aggression be launched against us.
Some could argue that developing a nuclear weapons program is potentially in Iran's best interests, given the threats it now faces.
We do not think that in order to defend ourselves, we would be in need of nuclear armaments.
Boo.
Having possession of nuclear armaments, mind you, might even put us in a more fragile position. There are others inside Iran who might not see eye to eye with my opinion.
And what's clear to us is the Iranian leadership is
You need it, man. You need it. You need it. When? When will you, he's baiting us, diversion? No, he's not. I don't think he is. Okay.
We're actually
Steve Scalise, the 35-year-old who's sitting in his mom's basement playing video games, is going to have to get a job again. Bro, why is he fucking shitting on the Asmongold constituency right now? This puts Asmongold in a weird predicament.
Cutting spending in this bill, getting rid of a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse, putting work requirements, for example, in a program like Medicaid so that the truly disabled and needy will be able to get better access to Medicaid because those able-bodied adults who are turning down work, the 35-year-old who's sitting at his mom's basement playing video games, is going to have to go get a job again. Those are going to be good things for the economy, but it's also something that helps reduce waste, fraud, and
That's really messed up. I've applied to 30 jobs, haven't heard back from any of them. I want to work. Yeah, everybody always talks about this like massive amounts of readily available open jobs, and it seems like nobody has found them. You know, people are fucking constantly looking for jobs. Even motherfuckers with jobs are looking for different jobs, and it seems like all of these openings lead to nothing. And I don't know what is going on. Like, I feel like most people have just decided that job listings are fake. Unless they're talking about gig economy work or something. But I've yet to see these readily available jobs where people are just like desperate for more work. Ne yapıyorsun baba? My friend applied to Lowe's and got an interview immediately. I had to explain why. I've been sending job applications for new work for 3 months straight with no replies. I rely on Medicaid, so I'm royally fucked by this. This is about to become a nation of Luigi Mangionis. Do you think there's enough contention within the Iranian administration around whether they should get nuclear weapons that could cause a coup or shuffle in their power structure? I don't know. But in any case, we're moving away from Iran, and we're talking about Israel, the most important nation on the planet, one that we have forgotten about, except we haven't really forgotten about it. They're still doing a genocide. It's been 633 days, and I cover it every single day for the past 633 days. Holy shit, that is insane. Anyway, now, Israel's agreed to conditions for a 60-day ceasefire, Trump says. Trump, out of nowhere, revealed this. He's on Truth Social, because that's where diplomacy is conducted. My representatives had a long and productive meeting with the Israelis today on Gaza. Israel has agreed to the necessary conditions to finalize their 60-day ceasefire, during which time we will work with all parties to end the war. The Qataris and Egyptians, who have worked very hard to help bring peace, will deliver this final proposal. I hope for the good of the Middle East that Hamas takes this deal, because it will not get better, it will only get worse. Thank you for your attention to this matter.